What'd you like?
I kind of feel like number one, just with having to go through them again, I like them more this time around.
Just like License to Kill.
Yeah. So I feel like that's going to be kind of a common thing if I come back to any of these. Really, that I'm probably going to enjoy it on the second round. Having maybe that space in between watches helps out a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta say, I thought overall it was pretty good. It still kind of had some of that convoluted storyline there, but it was pretty action packed. It was pretty always on. Our girls were hot. You know, we had the convoluted plot.
Yeah.
We checked a lot of the Bond boxes, and overall, I think Pierce Brosnan. I'm just liking him more recently now, and just the way that he portrays kind of that more serious character and seems to have a little bit more of the upper hand because he's trying, rather than having the upper hand because his name is James Bond.
Right.
So I think of so many of the scenes where, James gets led into a boss room by at gunpoint, to talk to somebody. And then, like, when he was going to meet up with Zukovsky, he was the guy who, hit one of the bad guys, knifed him to the bar, took out his gun, and then was like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to Zukovsky now. Grabs one of the other henchmen, leads him into the room with the gun.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like is trying harder and is probably a better spy overall than, some of our other guys. So I really like kind of the way that he portrays Bond, I think, now more than some of the other guys.
I've always liked Brosnan, but that was the first Bond I was really introduced to as a kid.
Sure.
If Bond, that made me think when you were talking about that, how like his advantage just because he's James Bond. It made me think of like if James Bond was an NBA player, he'd just be the guy that gets all the fucking calls, and everybody's like, again, I didn't touch him. I didn't fucking touch him. And they're just like, look, do you want a technical? Or are you gonna keep yelling at me? He's going to the foul line. And like he'd be like the dirtiest player too. It just I don't know. It is funny just to think about that way. As far as what I liked, not hard to watch. They do keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Action was, of course, with most of these Brosnan movies, that's the main thing that comes to mind is the fact that the action is just so outlandish. Like, you're just like, no.
Yeah.
Not that. No.
Yeah, losing my goddamn mind with the chopper. Just slicing the caviar warehouse, I guess.
Factory, whatever, yeah.
To shit. That just in its own thing is just like, oh my god, I forgot all about this. But like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
But it was the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's just like going through the car like butter.
Yeah.
Quite that easy. I don't know. Maybe.
Also, how dare they?
Also, yeah. Well, and then okay, so then that just like throws us to my dislikes, right? Yeah, underutilization of the car once again. Basically it serves its purpose of it's got missiles. He fires to the helicopter, and Bullion just sees the car, and he's like, it's Bond.
Yeah.
And then you figure out, like, the plot thickens, because he's like, oh, he works for Elektra, too, and Zukovsky.
But just, number one, is Bond being Bond. Like, maybe don't drive your iconic fucking vehicle everywhere when people are supposed to think you're dead.
Yeah, or, like, it's barely, like, you didn't hide it very well.
Yeah.
Like, Bond needs to carry around a fucking...
Well, yeah, he's parked on the pier. Who's going to park there? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You need to carry around a car cover, dude. Just to kind of at least try to hide your identity.
Yeah. Well, one of them got to be invisible. If only we had that technology.
Yeah. If he pulls up to a fucking caviar factory, he's like... I think Bond everywhere he goes is getting out of the car, and he's like throwing the keys to a guy that's not there, and he's like... And then he looks when he hears the keys hit the ground, and he's like...
Well, in this case, the water. He's got to be like, fuck.
What the fuck? Yeah. Just like, oh, well, I guess I don't need to get in there again. But, so dislikes car. And, like, underutilization of a cool trait in a villain. Of, like, this guy that doesn't feel anything. And then we pretty much only see it, like, he holds a hot rock. And then he punches a glass table when he finds out that Bond fucks good. And he's, like, really upset.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's as far as we're going.
Yeah. Especially with, like plutonium and, like, radiation kind of being a thing. It's, like, definitely an underutilization of, like, the actual IRL effects of being exposed to, like, high levels of radiation, potentially.
Yeah.
To where he could be unbothered by it trying to go through and do this thing. while, James is developing cancer by the millisecond, trying to stop him. Underutilization of stuff you can be doing. So, yeah, with you there.
And Bond always needs to, like, this one just drives me crazy, like, in general. It's just like Bond always needing saved. Like, dude, like, I don't know, as a kid, like, I don't care as much now because I'm just like, Bond, he's a fucking jerk off, whatever.
Sure.
But, like, as a kid, when you're, like, no matter what movie you're watching, if it's Spider-Man, like, the hero always has to go through this part where, oh, man, he was pinned down. They had him captured here, and, like, at any moment they could have just killed him. Mm-hmm. And so, like, it's like that whole thing where you don't want to make excuses for your heroes, And this argument never would come up, But, like, I feel like as a kid I always thought it would, And so you're like, well, don't even talk about when Bond was captured. He's like, well, yeah, but, like, he needed help. Like, what happened? And it's like, shut up! You shut up! My dad could beat your dad up! And it's like, what? What are you arguing about again? But, like, the sniper shoots the other guy, so he, so it's like, Bond could have been killed 100 times, and it was all...
And that's tradition. You never, kill somebody unless it's moving the plot forward.
Right. So... what were your dislikes?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So kind of the plots, being a little convoluted, with the caviar thing not seeming relevant in any capacity. Zakowski not really seeming relevant until it magically is. Not as bad as some of the others, I think, but definitely kind of pretty rough. So my quote was here. So we got a casino caviar dude magically having ties. That kind of comes up with the oil pipeline princess who kind of framed a spy organization with her father's death and got a crazy man to blow up her competition because of her bomb-ass pussy, is roughly what this boiled down to. So I was like, fine, but, little iffy for me.
A lot. It's a lot.
little lot of iffy there. Some parts about her, though, do make her like a pretty, kind of great and unexpected Bond villain because of this. Mm-hmm. Because she doesn't really feel like she's supposed to be the antagonist until, kind of like those real end piece moments, where we realize it's kind of her plan rather than Renard's plan. But also having a boat scene and a ski scene in the same movie is an unforgivable crime for a James Bond series.
It's very Bond.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that Bond writers love, it's a fucking ski scene, and second would be a boat scene. I think we've seen. I don't know. I want to go back through the series and just count the number of ski scenes, because it's insane.
It's excessive.
Yeah.
The only saving grace out of the ski scenes was the ski things. What am I missing on the word?
With the little snowmobiles.
The snowmobiles.
With
Christ.
Fans.
Yeah. So those things were the coolest thing. I thought that was like just awesome.
Fatal flaw though is if you touch them, they explode.
Yeah. No, they do have self-destruct buttons entirely surrounding them at all times. So bad design. I don't know why they thought that they were going to get those back. I think that was it Arkhov maybe was the one saying, "Oh, I was supposed to send those back." How am I going to explain that? Yeah. But yeah, unforgivable to both have a boat scene and a ski scene in the same movie.
And the boat one was fun. It was long. It was too long.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what these are about, practically, right? Is like, let's just show you some action.
Yeah.
The little shot where he goes under the water in the boat and he kind of adjusts the tide.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's a good one. The boat just completely steering full control on land. I might be thinking of another one at this point.
No, he comes up and
yeah. With like no wheels. Like if it was like I can't remember which movie it was now. I want to say it was Moonraker, but when it comes out of the water and then the boat just like kind of sprouts wheels all of a sudden, and it's like, okay, there I see it, but yeah,
it was built for that. But this was Q's retirement mobile for fishing, I think. So